What's up, Mike here again. Another update. So I study pure math and applied physics at my university. No way near an expert. I'm just a person that enjoys studying natural sciences, the natural way of the world around us, how it applies to itself and to humans. And I enjoy looking at pandemics, thresholds, vaccines, that sort of thing. I think it's very interesting issues revolve around that. So, not too long ago, we just found out that Japan had its first re-diagnosis, meaning that someone got the virus the first time. It was a middle-aged woman in Japan, and then they got it another time. So they tested him again, this woman again, and she got it a second time after being confirmed to have surpassed the virus. Had the virus leave their system, their immune system. So that's very troublesome. But what we just found out a few hours ago is that China, 14% of cases where people survive, 14% of those cases end up with people getting the virus a second time. Confirmed viruses. So we're looking at over 76,000 confirmed viruses, which there could be several more beyond that. As I discussed in the last video, basically 1 in 7 of those cases are people getting the virus a second time for the coronavirus. So that's very troublesome because 18 to 20% of people who get the virus, they end up in severe condition, critical condition, which is worse than severe, or death. So looking at just over 2% of being death, and then the other 16 to 18% beyond that being that aren't death. So the complement of these severe to critical conditions being people who, may be in the hospital for a prolonged amount of time, or their body is hurting quite a lot. It's really fighting that immune system, and which can form pneumonia, that sort of thing. So first time, these 1 in 5, basically, they might overcome it, and then might get rid of this pneumonia, or they might not. If they get rid of the pneumonia, they get the virus a second time. Their immune system's hurting a lot worse, and usually affects their body in a worse way, I would assume. But if they keep pneumonia throughout that time, I could imagine that's going to be very damaging to the human body. And you're talking about 1 in 7, so that's over 10,000 people in China that are getting the virus, that we know about, that are getting the virus a second time, which is very troublesome because of those facts. Because of this might end up giving lasting effects on their body. Hopefully not, but obviously the worst case being death or spreading of the disease, obviously. So that's very troublesome. So I think that's very huge news, and something that just came out about an hour ago, coming out from the BBC, is that Japan is now closing all of its public schools indefinitely, basically, is what I read. So that's maybe a good sign, but another sign of what's to come, what we should expect from other countries. Obviously, we know the cruise ship was a Diamond Princess or whatever, is docked right there, and Japan has way fewer cases than, let's say, South Korea. And South Korea has a good healthcare system, a good high standard and healthcare practice, that sort of thing. So we could see where we might be heading. Japan is a very conservative country in terms of immigration and border control and how they approach these sort of things. So we could see with this amount of cases what a country might do, which is not really a bad thing when we're talking about a pandemic. Obviously, Japan is an island that can control itself a little bit better than somewhere like the U.S., who has Mexico and a long border with Mexico and Canada, and then people from below Mexico, from like Central America and South America, going through the border of the United States, the southern border, which is not a good thing. So it'll be a lot harder for America, or even more so Mexico and European nations, to contain this in the way that Japan is trying to, with their border and whatnot. So that's just something to look at. Now let's talk about what we've seen in the last 24 hours. So we had about 3,127 cases. That was Wednesday morning, and then Friday morning, which is basically Friday. So Wednesday morning, 3,127. Friday morning, 4051. So we're seeing an increase of 29.55%. That's cases, confirmed cases outside of China. So an increase of just under 30%, 29.55%, just out of China. The complement of China cases, confirmed cases of coronavirus. In terms of the death toll outside of China, 53 on Wednesday morning, 66 on Thursday morning. So that's an increase of 24.53%. So outside of China, we're looking at an increase of confirmed cases of 29.55% and an increase in the death toll of 24.53%. As I said before in the other video, it'll take a little while for the death toll to catch up to kind of where the equilibrium is going to be in terms of the ratio between the death toll and the confirmed cases. So right now it's at about 1.7%, and for both those mornings, 1.6 to 1.7% for the mortality rate, meaning the ratio, meaning the death toll divided by the number of confirmed cases. So we could see that it's increasing dramatically. As I said in another video, it increased by about 17.8% for 4 days straight, leading up until Wednesday morning, and then from Wednesday morning until Thursday morning, we're looking at an increase and 29.55%. That's the number of confirmed cases we're talking about here. So that's not a step in the right direction that we want it to be, but it's basically a steady state that we're looking at. Quite a dramatic increase every day, which is very nerve-wracking. But just another update. I'd like to do a comparison video of looking at the flu this year to the coronavirus and saying, because there's a lot of arguments that, hey, the flu is what we need to worry about, because a lot of people aren't paying attention to the news or the actual facts, the numbers specifically of how fast this is growing, and they might be looking at these artificial numbers coming from China, which I wouldn't really put a lot of water to. I don't think that holds much water. That's what I'm trying to say. So I might do a video, say, hey, this is the death toll or the mortality rate of the flu this year, which is one of the badder years compared to what we've seen in the last several years compared to the coronavirus, and how quickly it spreads, maybe compared to the swine flu and that sort of thing. The coronavirus is spreading way faster than the swine flu, and the swine flu actually did have a pretty high mortality rate. But if you have any other ideas, videos I should do in terms of looking into the numbers, because I enjoy this stuff, let me know.